Yeah, I mean, we got 6 games under our belt. Obviously, we played a couple extra there in Missouri with the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame. But I think we're, hopefully starting to trend in the right direction. I thought since Davenport, probably on this 4-game homestand, I would say we were obviously won all 4 games, so you have to do good things to win. You don't win accidentally, so we did a lot of good things, a lot of positives. But performances were uneven, and in 3 of the games there was pretty significant margins. I think 3 of them were 30 plus, and then the Aiken game was obviously back and forth and down the wire, and I think finished 11, but it was a 2-point game with 2.5 minutes to play, so much closer than that. And so we go in. I think it's now we have to be ready for this next step, and when you get into a conference like this, you get into league play. Doesn't really matter home or road. You got to be ready, and you got to play 40 minutes of high-quality basketball to give yourself a chance, because everybody in this league is good. Everybody's got talent. Everybody's got good coaching, and so it's about really going out and competing and executing at a high level for 40 minutes, and then to try to make plays down the stretch to give yourself a chance. There's no nights off in the league. And Wingate, in terms of teams, they lost their first one last night. They were undefeated going into last night. They were without Jacob Dawkins, who was a starter, who we assume will be back for our game. And so with him, they were 4-0. But they're a lot like us in the sense that returned 4 starters from last year. Their leading scorer, Marco Haskins, graduated. But the other 4 starters are back, and I think all are better. None more so than Cottingham, Zero, who's I think a definite first-team all-league guard. He's a terrific player. Frankie Johnson's kind of similar to Anthony Brown in the sense of a smaller point guard, but that really stuffs the stat sheet in every area, including the glass. Dawkins really hurt us last year. Quantra Taylor seems like he's been there since I got in the league, so I don't know how that is, but he's been there forever. But he started for him, and he's just a huge guy, and he's hurt us on the glass over the past couple of years, how many years it's been. And then I think Rashad Pringle, who's transferred that sat out for him last year, I think he's their second leading scorer and leading them in rebounding, and he's about a 14 or 15 and 8 guy for him, and a tremendous athlete, and kind of a strange mismatch at 6'5", 240. He's a unique kind of build and skill, and he's quick and really nimble for that size. So it's a nice combination of speed and strength. And I think we're there, where they really, and they were good last year. They won 17 games. They beat us here in the conference tournament to end our season. But where they're significantly improved is just their bench depth. Francis Cio, much like Cottingham's a redshirt sophomore. He's light years better than he was last year. He was a nice player last year, but he's really playing at a high level and shooting. I think he's making 3 threes a game and shooting better than 50% from 3. Miguel Priest was in our league before at Coker and is a good player. He went JUCO, but now he's a guy that's kind of a 3 through 5, for them. And they just have that, so that their depth to me is significantly improved. Kendrick Tucker, Shamar Alston, the Nixon kid, Roberts. I mean, they go down the list. They're playing 11 guys, pretty significant minutes. So very deep, and always with a Brian Good team, very well coached. Brian Marcus do an outstanding job. So we'll have our hands full for sure on Saturday. Well, I think it's it helped. I don't know how much the week earlier helped, but I think what helped was the level of competition out there. You play a West Texas A&M that's, I think they're still undefeated, 5 or 6-0. Davenport, only game they lost was to us. I think they're 5-1 right now. So you play 2 really quality teams, and you kind of get to see your strengths and weaknesses, and you get exposed and get some truth. And I think anytime you can do that, it's a positive. Everybody talks about the benefits of playing a strong schedule, and I think there are benefits, but it's only beneficial if you win some of the games, right? It's not beneficial if you're 0-6 right now, but you played really tough opponents. So I do think there was some benefit, but it is difficult, to open up a week earlier. Like we talked about after the first game, and not, it's 100% on me from an accountability standpoint, but not having a chance to work on fouling in the late game when everything was just a little bit sped up. You start practice the 15th, and then you're trying to squeeze 3 scrimmages in, and then you're leaving out of here on the I guess the 29th or 30th, heading out to Missouri, of October. But it was a great experience, and I do think the biggest benefit was the quality of teams we played out there, and we got to see kind of what we were capable of against Davenport in terms of when we really are tuned in and playing well and competing and focused for an entire 40 minutes. Now, we shot it great, but we played great as well. And I also think we got to see the consequences against West Texas A&M, where we didn't play particularly well. We obviously shot it atrociously, but we didn't play very good basketball. Turned it over 18 times, gave them 30-plus free throws. I mean, you name it, we kind of did it and shot ourselves in the foot in a number of ways. So you leave out of there knowing both, and you always want to have a mixture of humility and confidence, and hopefully we left there with that. And now, the question for us that we have to answer is, as you get in this league play, is can we start to play 40 minutes? Can we be sound? Last year's team, which I haven't had since maybe my first year in the league or second year here, was a team that was, I think we were 9-1 in the league at home and 5-5 on the road, and so there's really, I know people talk about, there's whatever the saying, win all your home games and split. I don't know. I don't subscribe to that theory. I think you try to win every game, and good teams are able to play well everywhere. They're not bothered by external factors and, hostile environment, crowd, whatever the case may be. They go in, they're focused, they're ready to compete. And we're going to have to do that, and we have to show ourselves that because, like I said, for us, just like Wingate, a lot of the same guys back. Hopefully lessons learned of why we came up short, and you got to go, and the formula is always the same. You got to be really sound in terms of taking care of the ball. You got to be, certainly you want to be disciplined in terms of generating and taking great shots, and then you want to be tough as nails defensively, and easier said than done, but you got to stay true to your identity regardless of environment. So that's going to be something that I think we'll find out here as we get into 3 straight road games. Wingate's got a great team, and it's a hard place to play. Carson-Newman's, averaging close to 100 points a game, and that's as hard as anywhere in the league for us to play. And then, Coker's got a brand new deal. I haven't got into them yet, but they got a brand new coach, and they seem to be playing some good basketball here early in the season. Well, I think we'll find out if we've grown, in the areas that we need to, right? If we're, how mature we are we capable? Because I think if we don't in either one of those games, if there's any lulls, any lapses, we're going to get beat. So we'll be 5-3 and going, man, we probably should have been a little more focused, a little more intentional. In that homestand in terms of our practices haven't been terrible, but they haven't been great. And our performances haven't been terrible by any stretch. Like I said, we're winning all the games, and I certainly know that that's not an easy task. But again, there's a huge difference in, if you judge yourself on what you accomplish versus judging yourself on what you should accomplish. And most people judge themselves on what they accomplish. So that's human nature, that's natural, but it's really about what is your capacity, because you have to grow your capacity. Your capacity has got to be greater than your challenges in order to be successful, right? So the better the team you play, and there'll be some significant challenges as we get into Wingate and Carson-Newman, and I'm sure Coker, although I haven't really delved into them yet, but just those next 2 games, you're going to have significant challenges. Your capacity's got to be, sky high. We're going to play to our full potential, in both games to even have a chance to be successful. Doesn't guarantee anything, but if we're not at our best, then for sure, we're not going to have a chance to get out of there with a win. Both are really good teams and present completely different challenges, but equal in terms of being incredibly difficult and also being tough environments where you got to have some mental toughness and stay together. And that's always a thing on the road, and at home too. Is how you handle adversity. Do you guys stay together? And we'll see. We haven't had much adversity. West Texas, I thought we responded great against Davenport. And then in these 4, we did a good job hanging in there with Aiken down and rallied back. But, these last couple, obviously we've controlled it. And so it'll be good to be in this situation. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we respond.